Good evening, everyone. Today is the NGS headline recap video because at the time of this recording, the NGS headline has just ended. Now, the very first thing I need to get out of the way is I am going to be out of a job very soon because Yui Hasegawa pretty much summed up the entire headline in 5 words. Yui, take it away.
Super Genesis Festival, PSO2's 25th anniversary, Ruin Luther, 14-star weapons, and of course, Dash Reindeer. December is packed with fun. So bundle up, stay warm, and enjoy all the festivities. Also, drink your soup.
And there you go, guys. That's the TLDR of the NGS headline. You guys can go now. End of video. Okay, just kidding, just kidding. There's still a lot more to go over, so let's jump into it. So the very first thing is, of course, we do have the Super Genesis Festival, and we're actually getting over 400 free pulls, which is pretty insane. There is also going to be a new weapon. The new Legend 3 weapons are going to be introduced, so we'll be able to upgrade all of our current Legend 1 and 2 weapons into Legend 3 weapons, which is pretty awesome. Don't worry, I'll go into more detail for everything over here in a bit. I just want to give you guys the overview. And then on top of that, we're also getting the new 14-star rarity weapons, the Arch Weapon series, which does drop from the Luther Urgent Quest. Now, unfortunately, the Luther Urgent Quest is a limited time Urgent Quest, so it's not here forever. However, I do believe they will be implementing it through like a trigger or something like that later down the line. Now, something that they didn't talk about in the NGS headline is actually the new 14-star rarity armor is going to be introduced in January. On January 7th, we actually get a new 14-star rarity armor. So yes, they basically exceeded my expectations from this headline because we're getting new weapons and we're getting new armors. But that also begs the question of like, okay, what about our current existing weapons? And for many of you guys, myself included, we haven't even upgraded to the new armor yet. So there are still a lot of lingering questions on whether we should be farming for the new gear now or we should wait for the big update to kick in and all of that stuff. But I do believe that this armor is probably going to be upgraded from the current armors. So, you know, fingers crossed that that happens. But it doesn't hurt to wait. So if you're like me and you're currently sitting on your Execute armors, it's not the end of the world. Just continue to use them. They're perfectly fine. And you can just do all the current content even with these armors for now if you haven't upgraded. All right, let's jump into more details about the Super Genesis Festival. As usual, it's just like every other seasonal event, except there's just a lot of goodies over here. As I said earlier, we are getting 400 free pulls, but it is staggered across 3 months. So we're only going to get 150 free pulls at the very beginning, then there's going to be 100 free pulls, and then another 150 in January. So it is staggered, but nevertheless, we do get quite a lot of free pulls. So just make sure that you do log in enough days to do all those free pulls because you are limited to 10 pulls a day. Now, other than that, they also introduced a new Rappy series. So instead of like Emperor Rappies and stuff, they now have these Rugwall Rappies, which are, you know, they're basically the navigation Rappies from Phantasy Star. Next up is, of course, Satyr is back. We have not seen Satyr forever in the as the seasonal lady. So I'm glad that she's back, and she has a very, very nice looking outfit, which we will be able to obtain through an AC scratch. However, the version that we get is significantly more lewd. Don't worry, I'll show you in a bit. Next up is more mini episodes. I'm sorry, guys. This seems to be the trend. Sega just wants to push out more mini episodes instead of pushing out like full-on storylines. I'm as frustrated as you guys over here. Honestly, I haven't even completed a lot of the mini episodes. As you can see here under my main task, I'm still actually on chapter 7 where I need to go visit Glenn, I believe, at Stia Camp, and I still haven't done this quest because I just don't care. However, if you are leveling up and, you know, maybe you're coming back to the game or you're a new player, you do want to do this because it is a lot of EXP. I'm just at the point of the game where I don't need EXP and I just don't really care about these mini episodes, so I haven't been doing them. Next up is the Leciel exploration update. This was actually really funny when I saw it because we're essentially just going back to Leciel exploration version 2. For those who don't know, the current Leciel exploration that we have is known as Leciel exploration version 1, where everyone spawns in the middle. There's like a grid, everyone goes off and solves the puzzles and kill enemies and clear all of these grids. Leciel exploration version 2 came out several months ago. I want to say like 4 or 5 months ago, and it was by far my favorite version of Leciel because it was everyone spawned in one place. It's a linear progression. Everyone just clears all the rooms together, and then you kill a boss at the very end. Personally, I prefer this version of Leciel exploration a lot more because it's just easier and more streamlined, and you know, everything just, it's more seamless in general. So they're just bringing that back and they're calling it the Leciel exploration update. Nevertheless, you know, they are increasing the enemies levels and they are updating the loot table. As you can see over here, we will be able to obtain a new item called the Improved Cube. The Improved Cube is the item that we need to farm for in order to upgrade all of our Legend weapons into Legend 3 weapons. So as you can see over here, the weapons that can be upgraded is going to be the 12-star 12 series, the Legendio series, as well as the Leciel series. So basically these 3 weapons right here, you'll be able to upgrade them all into Legend 3 weapons. Now, Legend 3 is more like a rarity tier. The weapon itself is not called Legend 3. Basically what you're doing is you're getting either your 12 or your Legendios or your Leciel weapon, and you're just upgrading it to the next tier, which is Legend 3. Once it gets to that tier, its stats get improved significantly, as well as its weapon potential. The weapon potential also improves significantly, so that is really good. However, I know a lot of you guys are already asking, but Karo, you just said at the very beginning of the video that we have a 14-star rarity weapon. What about that? Is that better than these Legend weapons? And the answer is yes, the 14-star rarity weapon is going to be better than the Legend weapons. So the Legend 3 weapons are kind of a pit stop. That's what they said in the NGS headline. So we have our current 12-star rarity weapons. You're going to have the Legend 3 weapons here, and then you're going to have the 14-star weapons here, right? So basically 14-star rarity weapons are going to be significantly better, but they are incredibly rare, and only the Luther limited time urgent quest drops them. So I do not expect a lot of 14-star weapons to be circulating in the market anytime soon when Luther becomes available. So for the meanwhile, a lot of people can just go with the Legend 3 weapons if you want to, but personally, I would be very on the fence on it. Because remember, if you want to transfer all of your augments over to a weapon, you are going to need an augment transfer pass unless you are using an Iden weapon. Because remember, the Iden weapon, you can actually transfer all of those augments onto any weapon of your choosing without using an augment transfer pass. So I do know a lot of you guys are using Iden weapons because obviously the Zenith weapons are very expensive and annoying to get. So if you are using an Iden weapon right now, well, lucky you, you will be able to transfer all of your augments from your Iden weapon onto any of these Legend 3 weapons without having to use an augment transfer pass, which is fantastic. However, if you do get the 14-star weapon to drop soon after, if you want to transfer all of your augments from your Legend 3 weapons onto your 14-star rarity weapon, then you're going to need an augment transfer pass. So that's kind of the risk that you're taking, but honestly, I don't really see it as a risk, as from what I understand, those 14-star weapons are going to be very difficult to obtain for the next couple of months. So you might as well just upgrade to the Legend 3, transfer all your augments from your Iden weapon to the Legend 3 weapon, but that's a direct upgrade, and then just use your Legend 3 weapons for the next 3 to 4 months until those 14-star rarity weapons become a lot more accessible through seasonal events or campaign boosts and all of that stuff. Now, for my friends who don't have a 12 or Legendios or Leciel weapon, do not worry, they will be adding a new 12 AT weapon into the seasonal shop where you can use your Super Genesis Festival 2025 exchange tickets to obtain these. Keep in mind that the 12 AT weapons are not tradable or sellable, and the main use case of actually obtaining the 12 AT weapon is really to just upgrade it directly to the Legend 3 weapons. It's just for people who don't have a 12 and want to use a 12. Next up are a ton of quality of life improvements. So yes, we'll be able to do more sliders, add more emotions and stuff like that to our characters. So that is pretty nice, especially for my fashionistas out there. Now, another big thing that they've also added over here is you can now put favorites on creative space build parts. This is very useful for a lot of people who do make creative spaces because, you know, there's over 1,000 items now. So scrolling through every single one is kind of a pain in the butt. However, more importantly, they have added creative spaces all ships. So that means you can visit other people's creative spaces regardless of what ship you're on. Now, obviously, there are several catches to this because it's Sega that we're talking about. The first catch is Alliance spaces are excluded. So unfortunately, if you're playing on ship 3, ship 4, and you're trying to come to my ship to try to get my alliance buffs, because mine's always topped up, unfortunately, you can't do that. You won't be able to visit alliance spaces. This is only for personal spaces, so you'll be able to visit other players' creative spaces, but not alliances. But nevertheless, this is quite a big step up and quite a big improvement. I know a lot of people have really wanted to have this feature, and it's definitely going to make a lot of people's lives a lot easier to just visit other people's creative spaces. Another limitation, which is kind of a pain in the butt, is you won't be able to download other people's designs when you go visit other people on other ships. Unfortunately, it is what it is. It does suck. But nevertheless, it is really nice that they did add all ship matchmaking for creative spaces. Now, something that Sega surprised everyone with was ship transfers are now done daily. You don't need to wait for, server maintenance, which happens like once every 2 weeks, to transfer to a different ship. It happens daily, which is absolutely insane. And on top of that, it happens at 12 p.m. PST every single day. So you're going to be able to ship transfer super easily, and this will be implemented after December 3rd, after the maintenance. So yeah, this is really good for a lot of people who play on multiple ships and just want to ship hop all the time. I can think of several people. A certain swordfish is going to have a field day with this, as they're now going to be able to just ship hop every single day and visit everyone and have some good old fun. Next up is the PSO2 ES vacation style AC scratch. Now there's a billion AC scratches. I'm not going to go over all of them. I'm just going to point out some specific ones. This one is really nice because PSO2 ES does have a lot of very memorable characters over here, and they have a lot of really nice swimsuits, lots of really nice idle poses, and you've got an assortment of body pillows, including a husbando body pillow as well. Next up, they're adding even more dual quests. They're actually adding all the way up to stage 10 for these dual quests. So currently we have up to stage 4, and then tomorrow we get stages 5 and 6, and then soon after on December 9th we get stages 7 and 8, and then later in December we get stages 9 and 10. And apparently if we clear all of them, we do get a special reward or a surprise. They didn't say what the surprise is, but nevertheless, I'm going to be clearing all of them because I want this little crown over here. This crown does look pretty awesome. Kind of reminds me of the Photon crown, which is going for like 25-30 million Meseta or something on ship 2. It's kind of a ridiculous price. So, being able to get it for free is definitely something really nice. Now, while we're on the topic of AC scratches, of course, we do have the AC support item select is also coming back on December 9th. Now, something that I need to point out over here is the skill ring enhanced substitute +1 at 30 draws. So for those, the ring prices may plummet when this becomes available, as a lot of people are literally just going to be able to swipe in order to obtain this item to enhance their rings and get them to higher enhancement levels. All right, fast forwarding to December 17th. This is when the Luther UQ becomes available. Remember, it is a limited time urgent quest, but you want to run this. Every time this comes up, you definitely need to run this because of the chance of getting the 14-star rarity weapon. Personally, I think if you get the 14-star rarity weapon early, you should sell it. Honestly, the whales are going to gobble this up. You're going to be able to sell it for 200, 300, 500 million. You're going to make a lot of bank the moment this comes out, all right? So if you do get it within the first week, just sell it, cash out, wait until these weapons become dirt cheap, and then buy it then, all right? That's my recommendation. However, you do you, if you are a giga whale and you got it to drop and you just want to use it for yourself, these weapons are significantly more powerful than anything we have right now. So if you just want to have the strongest weapon, you definitely want one of these. Another thing that they are adding on December 17th is, of course, the new Argent Gladius Soul. So we already have the Argent Gigas Maste. They're adding a new Argent Gladius Soul. It is pretty significant. It does give an entire extra 1% of potency, which is pretty massive. You also get more HP and more PP as well. So you definitely want to upgrade to the Argent Gladius Soul. But in order to do that, you are going to need to spam this limited time quest and invitation from Benefon. We've had this before. They just added a new level and they changed the mobs and made them a little bit stronger. But yeah, we're gonna spam this over and over and over in order to get all the materials needed to make your Argent Gladius soul. All right, now to the most important AC scratch in the entire event, and that is the Joyful Holidays 2025. The reason I say this is because this very say-so looking outfit over here, the Santa outfit, is actually a very lewd outfit in disguise. Let me just show you the clip. So as we can see here, a Santa dress that can turn into a bikini, and wha-bam, there you go. As we can see right here, you can actually hide everything, the midriff area, the fuzzy parts, and you can just get a straight up bikini, and yeah, it shows a lot of skin. It's pretty nice. However, here comes the most anticipated motion item, and that is the motion idol reindeer, but wait until you get to the motion dash. This looks fine, this is great, but this right here, oh my god, this is peak. I'm getting this 110%. My throat is dying, but we're getting this one. We are 100% getting this motion dash of this reindeer because it's literally screaming as you're like dashing forward. And what's even better is I actually have the perfect outfit. If we go to customize looks over here, I actually have the derp reindeer. Let me just show you this. I'm gonna rock this outfit right here while riding that reindeer, and I'm gonna go around and say Merry Christmas to everyone. Look at the guy's face, man. This is art right here. So yeah, it's gonna be glorious. We're 110% gonna be getting this motion dash because that's gonna be freaking glorious while running around with the reindeer outfit. Now, other than that, we do have even more limited time quests. We're pretty much getting new limited time quests like every single week. This one is actually new though, the Happy Sunrise. So I am looking forward to this one. And there are some limited time line strike cards that can be obtained through this quest. And they are like, you know, Christmas themed, which is pretty nice. Nevertheless, we will be hunting down these cards and probably selling them, to be honest, because I don't play Line Strike. However, I do know Line Strike players will definitely want to have these limited time cards. Then as we can see here, there's even more stages of Duel Quest. As I said earlier, we are getting stages 9 and 10. This will kick in at the end of December, so December 24th. Now, even though I just said that the Festive Holidays AC Scratch was the most important one, the one that I actually pay the most attention to is actually New Year's Charm. For those who have been following the channel for the past 4 years, you may have noticed that I do change my outfit. Normally, I change my outfit once every year, and 90% of the time, it's always been from the New Year's Charm. So if you pay attention and you go back and rewind, you might have noticed that I've used the New Year's Charm 2023 outfits, and then I've also used the New Year's Charm 2024 outfits. And so now, with 2026 coming around the corner, I probably am going to be using the New Year's Charm 2025 outfits, and I'm leaning towards the middle one over here simply because I like this aesthetic. It does have like some samurai vibes to it, but it also might be time to try out a Type 1 outfit for the 2026. In that case, we would rock the Shinobi outfit. So it's kind of a toss-up between these two for now, and we're just gonna have to wait and see. So when December 24th rolls around, I'm gonna buy both outfits, and then we're just gonna mix and match and see you know, what works best and which one I prefer most. There's also an umbrella weapon camo available here. I don't know if it works for the katana. I hope it does, because I'd really like that umbrella. However, if that doesn't work, don't worry, there is this really nice looking katana over here. Even though it says this is a scratch count bonus prize, there is a different variation of this that is not a scratch count bonus, and I'll just rock that one. The only difference is that one is a black colored katana versus this one is a white colored katana. All right, next up is the operation report, or the developer letter over here. They talked a little bit about the Omniscience Beyond Genesis, which is of course the new update that we're getting right now with Luther and the Super Genesis Festival and all of that stuff. Nothing really crazy to talk about over here, other than the fact that they did mention about the 14-star rarity weapons are significantly stronger than anything available in the game right now. And so if that is what you want, if you just want to have the best of the best, the 14-star rarity weapons is something that you will want to go for. And last but not least is of course the satellite information over here. We do have the Black Friday sale right around the corner. This will kick in literally tomorrow, by the way. And yeah, Black Friday sales are pretty much the only time I can openly recommend people to buy AC, because everything is very heavily discounted. You're basically getting 50% off, and it's pretty much a good deal across the board. So if you do want to spend some money, or if you were planning to spend any money at all in NGS, this is pretty much the only time I would spend money, whenever there is the ARX Cash Super Sale. However, if you're like me and you're fully free to play and you don't care about spending money, don't worry, we're not left out. If you log in tomorrow, we will receive a Black Friday free gift, which is a katana weapon camo, which does look pretty badass. I do not know what katana weapon camo this one is, but I do like the look of the blade. It kind of reminds me of 2B's blade in Nier Automata, so it looks really pretty. It's a very nice blade. So as Yui Hasegawa said, there is the Super Genesis Festival, the PSO2 25th Anniversary, Rune Luther, 14-star weapons, and the Motion Dash Reindeer.
Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again.
But yeah, that pretty much wraps up the NGS headline. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!